You know, Jersey guy, I love a good hockey game, especially when the Preds win. And hey, I can even enjoy a game even when they lose as long as it's a good, fair, clean game. Exactly. But not when the refs decide to get in the middle of it. Who are they tonight? All I saw on the ice tonight were Preds white jerseys and orange jerseys. No jerseys with stripes on them. Preds lose 3-2 to the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton, Alberta tonight at Rogers Place. The Preds would get out to a 2-0 lead and looked home and cool before a lucky bounce off of Kyle Turris and officiating help in the third period, allowing the Oilers to score 3 unanswered goals and win 3-2 in regulation. UC Saros with his third start in a row for the Preds as he hopes to continue his hot streak. Not a lot of whistles and a lot of good action for both teams through the first 7 minutes of play. Oilers would get a 2-on-1 about the halfway mark of the first period, with McDavid deciding to keep the puck, and Saros had him the whole way and would keep it out. At the 12:17 mark of the first period, Preds are crashing the net, trying to get a puck past Oilers goalie Mike Smith, and finally it's Craig Smith getting off the schneid with his 12th of the season, and it's 1-0 Preds. Hockey Night in Canada whipped the stat for the Preds. Kind of a jinx now when you think about it, that the Preds have won 19 games this season when they have scored first. Connor McDavid would then get called for hooking Matt Duchene, and even though a little bit later Craig Smith would take them off of the power play with a penalty of his own, the teams would skate 4-on-4, and the Preds really did have some decent pressure to put a second goal in, even though they didn't, that I haven't seen before from them when they have played 4-on-4. First period would end with the Preds still up 1-0 and the shots at 7 apiece. The Preds would continue the ferocious forecheck that they have been exhibiting in this game that is really impressive to this Preds fan. The Preds would have to wait a while in that second period, but finally with 2:54 to go in the second period, the Preds would finally get another goal as Dan Hamhuis takes a shot from the point, and there's a beautiful tip by Nick Bonino to give the Preds a 2-0 lead. Late in the second period, after Fabro gets called for holding Yamamoto, when Yamamoto really should have gotten called for holding Fabro's stick as Fabro was trying to get away from him to defend another player, McDavid gets a breakaway on the power play as he gets past Denorti, but Saros makes a great save. Oilers would indeed get on the board before the second intermission, as on the power play still, the puck goes off of Saros and the rebound goes off of Kyle Turris' skate, taking a lucky bounce and goes into the net. The goal would eventually be credited to Chason. Preds lead cut to 2-1 after 2 periods. 3:45 into the third period, with Matthias Ekholm on him, Draisaitl would beat Saros glove side, tying the game at 2. A little bit later, the Oilers would get away with another non-call as Dante Fabro's stick is held, allowing the Oilers to have a 2-on-1, but fortunately, Saros would keep the puck out. Just under 9 minutes to go in regulation is when it would all come unravel tonight for the Preds. Referee Justin St. Pierre would call McDavid for holding Mikael Granlund of the Preds, but for some reason he would call Granlund for embellishment, even though it was clear that Granlund was trying to keep on his feet and did not dive, unlike if, say, this was called on Arvidsson. During the ensuing 4-on-4, Tenorti would get called for interference on Draisaitl on almost appearance-wise the same play that was called on Granlund, but the Preds don't get the benefit of the doubt and the Oilers go to the 4-on-3 power play. And 17 seconds later, of course the Oilers score. And of course, who else would it be? Knowing the Preds' luck, Draisaitl gives the Oilers a 3-2 lead. Thanks, Justin. About a minute after the go-ahead goal, Granlund would get called for tripping Draisaitl, who is in the midst, it would appear, of already losing his balance, to try and sell the call even more, and the refs, of course, only call Granlund. No, of course Leon wouldn't embellish it or sell it to the refs, of course not. Terrible officiating tonight. Eventually, the dying minutes of the period would come of regulation. Saros is on the bench as the Preds try to get the extra man. Yossi gets a great chance shooting it from the point, but it goes off the crossbar and out. Preds would try to tie it late, but couldn't overcome the outside interference. Not on purpose, but terrible as it was, and they lose the game 3-2. Preds still can't win 3 in a row for the first time since October of last fall to save their lives. There's a handful of games for every team every season where the officiating either helps you win the game or costs you the game, and tonight for Preds was one of those that cost them the game, and it was obvious. Thanks again, NHL, for helping the Oilers get the W tonight. I can blame Turris a little bit for that lucky bounce of where he was supposed to have his skate when that puck went in, but it was not his fault that they lost the game tonight. It wasn't even Draisaitl's fault. If the refs are going to call that, it's his job to keep drawing the penalties. The NHL has got to learn from a game like this and teach its officials how to ref the game better. I am not going to critique the Preds very much for this loss. There's not a lot to hang on them tonight other than not being able to get that third goal, which happens sometimes. Toss this game away and come out with a level head come Monday night in Vancouver. Win Monday night and I can still consider this a successful road trip, winning 3 out of 4 games on it. And I would start Saros again. He deserves it. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching as always. Hit like if you like this video. Hit subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media links by clicking on the channel name. Preds Nation, if you haven't heard the news just yet, make sure to send Steve Dangle some love.